Hello everyone. Freedom is our basic right and necessity. A struggling life under a free roof is much better than a comfortable life in a golden cage. In this poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, poet Leslie Norris has presented a comparative picture of a tiger in a zoo and a tiger in wild. Let's see what the poet has to say. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. The poet has used he for the tiger here to personify. He stalks in his vivid stripes. Stalks means follow or walks. Vivid is bright and colorful. The poet says that the tiger walks the few steps in his cage. The tiger has vivid, colorful stripes on its back, and he can just follow a few steps in his cage on pads of velvet quiet. Pads of velvet is soft paws. It is used for the paws of the tiger in his quiet rage. So he is walking quietly on his soft paws. He has quiet rage. Rage here means anger. He has anger, but it is suppressed because the tiger cannot show his anger. So the tiger walks in his cage the few steps that he can walk, and he is walking quietly on his velvety pads, and he has anger within himself, but he is not showing it. It is hidden. It is quiet. Let's see the literary devices of this stanza. First, let's see rhyme scheme. So for rhyming scheme, we have to see the last word. The last word of first line is stripes. Then cage and rage of line second and fourth, they rhyme. And then we have quiet. So we have rhyming scheme A, B, C, B. Talking about figure of speech, see this line. In his vivid stripe, there is assonance. What is assonance? It's the prominence of vowel sound throughout the line. So here in this line, in his vivid stripe, there is repetition of I sound, vowel sound I. So there is assonance. Then we have personification, as we have told that the poet has used he for the tiger throughout the poem. Then there is metaphor in the line pads of velvet quiet. So tiger's paws are compared with velvet to show the softness. Then there is oxymoron in this line, quiet rage. Now what is oxymoron? Oxymoron is a figure of speech in which adjacent or combined use of adjective that is opposite in meaning. Two adjectives, they are placed together and they have opposite meaning. Other examples of oxymorons can be small crowd, deafening silence, awfully good, open secret. So these are two completely different adjective with different meaning and they are placed together. So there is oxymoron. Now there is also imagery. An image is created in the minds of reader of a tiger stalking in the cage and also in the wild in the poem. So this image has been created throughout the poem. Now let's see the second stanza. He should be lurking in the shadow. Lurking means hiding. Sliding through the long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. Plump is healthy and fat. So now in the first stanza, it was a picture of tiger in the cage, and in the second stanza, the poet has given the picture of tiger in wild. What should the tiger be doing? The tiger should be hiding in the darkness. In shadow means in darkness. He should be sliding, walking quietly behind the long grasses, hiding behind the long grasses in the dark. He should be waiting for a healthy deer to come near the water hole entering so that he can hunt. So this is what a wild tiger should do, hiding behind the tall grasses in the shadow near the water body, waiting for the deer. Here also in this line, plump deer pass, plump and pass, there is per sound. So there is alliteration. What is alliteration? Closely placed words starting with the same consonant sounds. Now going to next stanzas. He should be snarling around houses. Snarling means warning sound which is made by animal. It's kind of slow roaring. At the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs. Baring means showing or uncovering. Fangs is a sharp and pointed animal tooth. His claws terrorizing the village. Terrorizing is scaring. So what should he be doing? He should be making angry sound around the houses which is at the edge of the forest. He should be showing his white teeth and his claws, and he should be scaring the villagers. but he is locked in a concrete cell. But what is his condition? In the cage, he is locked in the concrete cell, a wall, an enclosure made of cement. His strength behind bars, all his strength. So tiger is very powerful, but his strength is all locked behind the bars. He couldn't show his strength. He can't hunt. He can't terrorize the villagers. Stalking the length of his cage, ignoring villagers. So he's just walking in his cage in anger, and he is ignoring the visitors who have come there to visit him. He doesn't want to respond to them. He doesn't want to see them. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars. Patrolling are cars which are keeping a watch, vigil. And stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So the last voice that he hears at night is that of patrolling car, which have come there to keep a watch. And he keeps staring, he keeps looking at the sky, at the brilliant, with his shining eyes, the twinkling stars, which is only, that is the only freedom that he can find, that looking at the free sky, at the brilliant stars. Now, coming to figure of speech, in these lines, behind bars, he hears, we have alliteration, and then there is repetition of this word, brilliant. So these are some of the contrasting picture of the tiger which the poet has presented. Let's see few questions. Notice the use of word repeated in lines such as these on pads of velvet. Quite, in his quiet rage. Quite is repeated, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant star. Brilliant is repeated. What do you think is the effect of this repetition? So what is the effect of this repetition? Repetition has been used by the poet to emphasize his views on the tiger's helplessness in the cage. He has used quite twice, once with the velvet pads and once with the rage. Both shows the ability of tiger which has been suppressed. The ability which the tiger has, but it has been suppressed. That is why quite has been used. He cannot take a leap. He cannot go out of cage. He cannot jump. He cannot run and with his paws, and he cannot show his anger in the cage. That is why it is suppressed. It is quiet. And brilliant has also been used with stars and tiger's eyes, as both shows the sparkling qualities and they are comparative. So brilliant, stars are also brilliant and his eyes is also brilliant. So to emphasize on what he means, the poet has used repetition. Two contrasting pictures of the tiger has been depicted by the poet in the poem. What are they? So we have seen that there are two contrasting pictures. The poet has depicted two contrasting pictures of the tiger in the poem. One is a zoo, enclosed, bound and helpless tiger, stalking the few steps in the cage, suppressing his anger, ignoring the visitor, staring at the stars at night with his brilliant eyes. And another picture is that of a tiger in a wild, hiding in the darkness behind long grasses, waiting for a deer, snarling around the houses at the edge of the jungle, scaring the villagers by snarling and showing his fangs. So these are the two contrasting pictures presented by the poet. So here we will stop about this poem. If you have any doubt, you can write in the